Hello everyone, this is Module 4, Common Writing Mistakes Part 2. My name is Haran Novercalor. We will discuss grammar checklist, errors in punctuations, and other grammatical concerns. So the University of Wisconsin Writing Center cited 12 common errors in writing. The first part, which covers numbers 1 to 6, was explained by my fellow reporter. In this part, the second part, will cover numbers 7 to 12. First, we have omitting commas. Then we have superfluous commas, comma splices, and apostrophe errors. These four actually errors in punctuations. Then we have words easily confused. And lastly, we will discuss misspellings. So along this brief discussion, we will tackle also basic grammar concepts just for a refresher. Omitting commas. So what happens when you omit comma or commas when writing a sentence? Then it can change the meaning of your sentence or the message of your sentence. It could also cause confusion to your audience or make the sentence hard to follow. Just take a look at this example. President Marcos said the government will continue to prioritize infrastructure projects, education, and healthcare despite budget constraints. Notice the writer did not use any comma when separating the list. So when you look at this phrase or the underlined portion of the sentence, we can see that it's kind of confusing. Always take note that when writing a sentence that's a list, use comma to separate the objects. So there are actually several rules in using commas, but we will not discuss those rules because these are just basic grammar concepts and it is expected that we're already equipped with such. What's important here is to note that omitting commas in a sentence can change the meaning of your message and it makes the sentence hard to follow, just like in our example. Moving on, we have superfluous commas. The other term for this is comma abuse. It happens when a writer inserts a comma where it isn't grammatically necessary. So what happens when a writer inserts a comma when it is not necessary? So instead of helping, the comma interrupts the natural flow of the sentence and also confuses the meaning or creates a choppy style of writing. In this example, you should not put a comma between a subject and a verb. The president of the Senate, comma, announced new measures on healthcare reform. Here we can see that the subject is separated from the verb announce with a comma, and it's grammatically incorrect. The correct way is to not use a comma. Here we have another example of superfluous comma error when you separate essential information. This example, Senator Cruz, comma, of Texas introduced the bill on climate change. Notice that comma separate Senator Cruz and of Texas, where in fact of Texas is actually an essential identifier of Senator Cruz. So without the commas, we can clearly read that Senator Cruz is actually from Texas and he is the one who introduced the bill on climate change. Feel free to pause the video so that you can take a closer look on these examples. Next is we have comma splice. So what is this? It occurs when two independent clauses or two complete sentences are joined with only a comma. So a comma actually is not, or by itself is too weak to join these full sentences. So if you want to join two full sentences, then you will need a period, a semicolon, or a coordinating conjunction like and, but, so. This example, we have two independent clauses connected by a comma. Voter turnout reached a record high, comma, many citizens expressed concern about election. So these two independent clauses are actually connected by a comma, which is grammatically incorrect. So what is the proper way? Then you have to use the semicolon. Another example, the governor delivered her annual address. This is one independent clause. Then, comma, the legislature responded with criticism. Here, we can see that two independent clauses are connected with a comma, which is wrong and should have used period. So if you are confused when to use semicolon or period, tip is that use a semicolon when you want to stress the connection between two ideas, or use a period when you want to stress their independence. Moving on, we have apostrophe errors. Apostrophes show possession and form contractions. This example, the most common error is interchanging its without apostrophe with its with apostrophe. So its without apostrophe is actually possessive pronoun, and its with an apostrophe is a contraction or a shortened version of this. So here in this example, the committee lost its apostrophe credibility, and here we can see that its is actually a contraction of it is. So when you read it without contraction, it will sound awkward. Like the committee lost it is credibility. So it's actually wrong. You have to use the possessive pronoun its without an apostrophe. So here are the most common contractions used. Feel free to pause the video to take a closer look and to refresh yourselves. Another apostrophe error is when you use apostrophe to write plural or the plural form of decades or acronyms. Just like in this example, the 1990s using an apostrophe were a turning point in Philippine politics. So the plural decades form is actually just adding S, not apostrophe S. Next is we have words easily confused. So what are these? So these are English words that look or sound alike. Yeah, look because in the first glance or when you're reading or when you're thinking, then it will look similar on your mind or on your eyes, and it will also sound alike. So these are words that are not misspelled, but actually correctly spelled words, but entirely different words. And because these are entirely different words, then they have entirely different meanings. Example, affect versus effect. Affect is a verb, while effect with an E is a noun. So when you take a look at this example, the typhoon affected thousands of families. You can see here that the correct word is affected because it is a verb. Again, this is just simple grammar concept, and what's important is to use the proper words to deliver the correct meaning of your sentence. Again, this is lose versus lose. Lose with a single O means misplace or not winning. Then lose with double O means it's not firm, it's not fixed. So in this example, the Department of Health warned that if hospitals continue to run out of supplies, they may lose double O, more patients to preventable diseases. The correct word here is lose, although they sound similar, but the correct word is lose, as in misplace uh, or not winning. Anyway singular versus anyway separated. Anyway singular means regardless, nonetheless. Anyway means any manner. So here, this example, the mayor said the city would recover from the flood crisis and that residents should help in any way they can. The correct word is any way separated because it means any manner. Lastly, we have misspellings. So misspellings are the most noticeable or the most visible writing errors. Like the first time you read an article, it's the first thing you notice, misspellings or words that are misspelled. Example or the causes of misspellings, usually number one, typographical errors. It's like when you're typing so fast and you press a wrong key and it causes a misspelling. It's like in this example, the president will deliver, you added an E, and the tomorrow has double M. So these are words that are misspelled. So causing these errors could have a direct impact on the credibility of your report or the news itself because of the presence of such errors. So other thing you have to be concerned is the misspelling of proper names and places. It's like in this example, Mayor Shirley Gonzalez of Quezon City. The misspelled words are city without an I, and Shirley should have without an E. So be careful with this one because misspelling of proper names and misspelling of proper places or even objects or events could lead to a misinformation because it may refer to a different person, different place, different event. So all in all, although these errors are small, like just errors in punctuations, errors in apostrophe, comma, but it can change the meaning of the message, just like in our examples. It could also confuse your audience, and it could be interpreted in different ways, not really in the way that you want it to be interpreted. And it could also reduce the credibility of the article, the reports, news, and of course, the DevCo material itself. So how can you put your 100% confidence in a material if you can see a lot of errors in it? So that's all. Thank you very much for listening. Bye bye.